Hey, I'm David Levithan.
And I'm Nina LaCour.
And we are really hoping you get to know well our book.
You Know Me Well.
And we hope you enjoy it.
Did you take each chapter at a time and you each wrote your own chapters rather than collaborating on all the chapters together?
Yes, and in fact, we didn't do any plotting, so it was really, David wrote his first chapter. I had no idea what would happen except that a boy and a girl would meet at some point. Sent it off to me, and it was a great surprise, and then I did mine and tried to surprise him, and we just kept going like that throughout the process.
So you really just went in order of the story.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. That had to be so exciting to open the email, like what happened next?
Yeah, no, it's cool. Because Nina and I, we loved each other's works, and we had met each other a couple of times, but we didn't really actually know each other that well when we started writing. And it was kind of cool because the characters were in the same situation. They don't really know each other that well either. They go to the same school, but they've never really talked. Yeah. And so in a way, sending the chapters back and forth were a way of us to get to know each other as writers, as well as our characters getting to know each other.
What's something that you took away from it that was interesting or surprising?
I took away I didn't know that it would be such a different experience to write with another author than it is to write by myself. I thought that it would have a lot more in common with writing my own stuff than it actually did. And it was kind of like this fun gift every time one of the chapters would appear in my inbox from David. And it felt like a kind of escape from the other projects I was working on to sit down and write my own and then send it back to him and surprise him. And it had an element of fun that my solo books don't have, because that's so much more about being focused and alone and laboring over something.
Right. What about for you?
I think for me, the story was really interesting because we decided without talking about it to talk about love from two totally different approaches. Like my character Mark is in love with his best friend who doesn't want to admit that they are in a relationship, and Nina's character is in love with a girl who she's never met. So you have being in love with somebody you know too well, and then being in love with somebody you've never met. And it was really interesting, both of us coming from totally different directions and then meeting in the middle to write the book.
Your stories from each perspective, was it inspired by something, or was it just a random story that you thought of?
I think that everything I write is inspired by something. Like there's some element of real life that comes in. One of the things that my character Katie is really dealing with is this pressure and expectation to just go to college right after high school and kind of take that traditional path, when she's actually kind of afraid to take that step and doesn't know if it's right for her. Also the experience of growing apart from friends and, having a crush or an early love, like all of these things can be universal. And so, of course, I drew from my own experiences, but it's not, autobiographical.
Right. What about for you?
For me, it was interesting because the dynamic of falling for somebody who you're friends with and not really knowing whether you're friends or you should be more than friends is something I'm familiar with. But I'd never really written about it to such depth before, and it was interesting that it took a shared book in order for me to feel comfortable to write about it. So that was really, I did not know that I would go as far as I went with it, but then I was just writing my chapter. I was like, oh wow, you're going there. And it was very, I will say it was very autobiographical at moments, just the truths of things. And again, seeing it after the fact, you can reveal more than you ever knew at the time.
The book is about romance, but also friendship. So what's something that you like most about the friendship that's created throughout the book?
I like how true and steady it is. I hope this isn't too spoilery, but it really is this friendship that I feel like they both can rely on the other person really well, and I think neither of us really wanted to play with that or mess with that. Like that is really a constant throughout the book.
Yeah, and for me, I love there's this dynamic which I have experienced in life where a lot of the times you become really good friends with somebody and then you have the deep conversations, but a lot of the times you just instinctively know somebody is going to be your friend and you just plunge right in and have the deep conversations up front, and then the trust grows from that, and that's the kind of friendship that Mark and Katie have. So I really love that we, I think, portray that as it really happens.
And what's one takeaway you hope that we take away from the friendship?
Don't be afraid to grow and change and be yourself, and trust that someone will see that and appreciate you for who you are.
Sometimes you can get so stuck in your life that you need a totally outside perspective to sort of get you out of the rut and make you see who you're supposed to be.